Katy Perry, ladies and gentlemen. Katy Perry. Roars like a lion. That is my wife, Pat Kaufman. She just retired from being the New York State Film Commissioner after 20 years, appointed by 4 governors, Republican and Democrat, and Communist. Pat Kaufman, Communist.
Microphones for you guys.
Oh boy.
Here's one for you.
There you are. Thank you.
Here's one for you.
Thank you, Joe.
We have water. We have the whole.
Wow, this is amazing. Water. Oh boy, Joe. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Spooky World. And thank you to you hungover fans for showing up at this very early hour.
That shows a lot of love and dedication. I mean, to be fighting through the hangovers that they all no doubtably have.
Well, there was a typo in the program. It was they thought they were going to be seeing Justin Bieber this morning, and but it's me. Sorry, I'm my beautiful wife. Anyone who asks a good question will be getting one of these amazing, limited, one-sided Return to Newcomb High, Volume 2. This is the movie we're currently editing, and many of you actually were kind enough to crowdfund part of this movie, and thank you very much. It's a little behind schedule.
And if they come to the booth afterwards with the fabulous poster that they will get for asking a great question.
I will blow you, yes. This was supposed to be 8 a.m., but next year this panel will be at 8 a.m., so that nobody shows up. And I'd like to thank Pete, by the way, Pete, for letting me come here. That's so nice.
And that
Pete,
booth number is 514.
514, but none of the booths is numbered. I don't see any numbers on the booth. We're right near the men's room, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Men's room, very nice men's room here.
Actually, you're not near the men's room.
We're not near. We're near the janitor supply. No, we got the Toxic Avenger mop in that. I think it is the men's room. Yeah.
You gotta keep that fresh supply, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. So you guys are doing some great stuff on YouTube. I hear you have not one but 2 channels, Troma Films on YouTube, and you've got a free channel that's a thank you to all the fans. Could you tell me a bit about that?
Yes, thank you, Joe, for mentioning that. But to thank our fans for 40 years of support, we put up Troma movies on YouTube. You can subscribe. It's totally free, and there are about 400 free Troma movies there, as well as many short pieces and Troma lessons and political statements. And it's all free. Every day we put up something new, and subscribe. There are about 130,000 people who have subscribed. And there is also an amazing subscription service that the first month is free, where you get world premiere movies like Hunky Holocaust and wonderful films like that sort of world premieres. Troma Now, it's called Troma Now. But the Troma Movies channel, we watch that every night. It's all free. It's all free.
And BC Butcher, the new BC.
BC Butcher is a world premiere on Troma Now. Thank you, by the 17-year-old Kansas Bowling, who made a movie, 17-year-old, which features O.J. Simpson trial superstar Kato Kalin. If you we learned in that movie that actually Kato killed O.J. Or O.J.'s wife, actually. I'm sorry.
Oh
Kato,
man, now even more relevant.
Yeah, it's very relevant, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Troma Now, you get it on, you can find it on the internet, but Troma Movies is all free, and the cartoons are there. Are there any children in the audience? Any fucking children here in the audience? Anyway, we have all the cartoons on Toxic Crusader cartoons. Doggy Tales, that's our one movie, Joe, that we made for children, Doggy Tales. Also, stoners like that a lot, Doggy Tales. The dogs speak and they sing. And James Gunn was one of the voices, as was, what's her name again?
Jenna Fisher.
Yeah, Jenna Fisher is one from the...
Beauty in the Apocalypse.
Exactly, he's one of the voices. And our daughter, Charlotte, plays one of the parts.
Are you in it?
I'm in it too, but we are humans. Charlotte and I are humans.
What?
Sort of human in the movie, but the doggies are very cute.
Well, I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Like I said before, I've been a fan of yours for, it seems like forever. When I was a little kid watching Toxic Avenger on the USA Network, it seemed like,
Rhonda, up all night.
Fall night.
Yeah, Rhonda, we're still in touch. Rhonda follows me on Twitter, at Lloyd Kaufman, yeah. I'm also on YoungHairlessAsianBoys.com if you're looking for me. I think that's where we met, Joe, right?
yeah, I was trolling the site, and
Yeah. You weren't trolling the site, Henry. That's not called trolling, that's soliciting.
I mean,
250 is a lot, too. Anyway, where were we?
oh my gosh.
Make your own damn movie. That's what I
Yes.
said.
But yeah, those Toxic Avenger movies. I mean, they blew my mind, and I know I'm not the only one here.
Use the
that
word
would say
blow,
that.
you see, right? We weren't joking about how we met. Yeah. Sorry. I'll let you ask a good question. You'll get one of these. Oh, here you are, Joe.
Thank you very much. I'm going to make sure to get that signed.
Thank you.
But I'm sure I'm not the only one that's been warped by your films. I mean, just seeing some of the stuff that was in there, you didn't see stuff like that on television all the time. You didn't see stuff like that in movies. And it was because your films were so independent and not being, basically thrown together by committee by some studio somewhere. What was it like back in those days, putting together movies like that? Was it
I don't
difficult
remember.
to
I
get-
took a lot of acid in the 60s. It's all a nightmare. But let me tell you this about that. Return to Newcomb High, which is the second half of Return to Newcomb High.
Yes.
The volume 2 is going to be our best movie. Michael Hurst, my partner, who never appears in public, he has gone on record as saying that it is indeed the best film we've made. So keep an eye out for Return to Newcomb High, especially those of you who contributed to the Kickstarter account. Thank you again. Toxic Avenger, by the way, my Twitter blew up because Deadpool came out, and all these fans were saying, you did what's in Deadpool 30 years ago, and so that's kind of nice that finally what we've done is sort of has a little impact on the ether.
Has caught up? Yeah. Now, a few years ago, I kept hearing rumors that they were remaking Toxic Avenger with somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger or The Rock or somebody like that. Was that true at all?
They're not making it in Iraq. No, sorry. ISIL's a little too powerful. But there is a remake being remade. The lead producer is named Akiva Goldsman. He got an Oscar for writing a movie called A Beautiful Behind. It's A Beautiful Mind, sorry. And it's slowly happening. Schwarzenegger did sign, and they announced it at Cannes Film Festival, but then he unsigned. Apparently he saw the original Toxic Avenger and decided he'd rather make a shitty version of the Terminator. And get $60 million for 3 movies, something like that, I'm not sure.
I think he should have gone with
But
you.
they're doing it. They keep giving us little checks, and one came in yesterday, which is
And
how I paid the airfare.
Stephen Pink is going to direct.
Stephen Pink will direct. He brought you, Hot Tub Time
Hot Tub
Machine.
Time Machine.
And Grossy Pointy Blank. He wrote that. And High Fidelity. There you go.
Yeah.
So he's a good director, and he loves Troma. And I think it'll be a good remake. And if nothing else, Uncle Lloydie will get a check so he can have more drugs and whatever. And we'll get to make another movie, maybe. How nice is that, Joe?
That'd be great. That would be like a Christmas present.
But
Whenever
sure
it-
would, for me,
whenever it came.
anyway. Huh? Although I celebrate Kwanzaa, I don't celebrate. We Jews, we dirty Jews, we celebrate Kwanzaa. Right, Commissioner?
Merry Christmas.
I'm gonna get into trouble right now. She's got a big rolling pin that's Sorry, Joe.
I'm sorry, like every time I see you in a Q&A or an interview, I just can't help but to laugh. You've got just like this energy and, this kind of like flow of things.
Well, again, it's all thanks to our fans that we've been here for 40 years, which is why we did set up Troma Movies with all the free films to sincerely thank our fans. And thank you very much. Just the fact that you all showed up here, and that's 40 years of Troma's the longest running independent movie studio, and we probably have the longest running marriage in the history of cinema too. And also, talk about combat shock. This woman deserves a combat pay.
But it's not an independent marriage.
No, no free-range husbands in this situation.
Now, you guys have such a huge library of films from over the years. There are so many that are personal favorites, like Sergeant Kabuki Man, Tromeo and Juliet. You know.
Thank you. That was James Gunn back there, by the way. He wrote Tromeo and Juliet. Then he did Guardians of the Galaxy. Thanks, James. Hope you give me another 2 seconds in the second Guardians of the Galaxy. Really enjoyed the uncredited Prisoner #2. Especially the #2 part. Thanks.
Which, by the way, that was like one of the big moments where I actually just like lost it. I was like, yeah, when I saw you.
Thank you.
Is there a Troma film out there that you feel doesn't get enough attention that you think is like the hidden gem, the classic?
It's a great question. Basically, all our movies get no attention. That's no joke. Poultry Guys, Night of the Chicken Dead. Right? We lost all my wife's retirement money on it. And, very bad. We only made chicken feed off of
But
it.
it's brilliant.
It's a wonderful film.
And it stars Lloyd, so it's
Yeah, you
hilarious.
get to see my balls in that movie. You get the Blu-ray, it's an Easter egg with the twins.
I thought you were going to say Troma. I mean, I agree, Poultry Guys, but I thought you were going to say Troma's War.
Yeah, Troma's War was cursed. It's a great film, and when it came out, the Motion Picture Association of America obliterated it in order to get an R rating and be in movie theaters, which you don't have to do anymore because independent movies barely get into movie theaters. But in those days, you could get them in, but you had to have an R rating, and they totally disemboweled us. So the movie was totally destroyed by the MPAA for the movie theaters. And then something happened again when the DVD came out, so that we had to recall them all or something. I can't remember what it was. I think Hillary Clinton had put in some footage of herself into the AIDS brigade or something. I can't remember, but it's a cursed movie, but it's a wonderful film. It's finally out on Blu-ray, and it looks really
What's
beautiful.
out is the director's cut, your version.
Yeah, it's the original. Yeah.
Pre-MPAA, destruction.
Right.
Yeah.
The Motion Picture Association of America is the rating board, which is owned and controlled. It's also the lobbyist for the major studios, and it's owned and controlled by them. And they're also trying to stop net neutrality on the internet. They're down in Washington lobbying, spending $100 million a year to get rid of the free, open, and diverse internet, so that there will be no longer a democratic medium. There will be no democratic mediums left. So you should all let your elected representatives know that you would like to preserve the free, open, and democratic internet, so that we can have innovation, so that we can have new creations like Netflix and Kickstarter and cures for cancer and Zika and things like that. Without the free, open, and diverse, without net neutrality, we will have a world that is 50% controlled by 80-year-old Rupert Murdoch and 90-year-old Sumner Redstone. So support net neutrality on the internet.
One more thing about Troma's War. If you are Lost fans, right? I mean, half the room probably is a fan of that series, Lost. It's really, and if you've never seen Troma's War, go see Troma's War, because it is really clear that in those early seasons of Lost, they must have seen Troma's War.
Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams is a big fan, and the star, the meaty hunk in Jose, what's his name again? Garcia? What?
Jose Garcia.
Oh, Jose Garcia? He's the star of Troma's Tales from the Crapper, another classic. Wonderful film. Oliver Stone, I believe, makes an appearance in that. And
So did the South Park Boys.
yeah, the South Park Boys. Well, Oliver Stone didn't really make an appearance, but we pretend that somebody is Oliver Stone in that movie.
But the South Park Boys really do appear.
Jose from Tales from the Crapper, whom we discovered, does appear. He's the star, one of the stars of Lost.
Now, Oliver Stone, when he appears in the movie, is it true that he appears in the back and to the left?
Yes. Yeah, he was very left. Yes, very left. Yeah. But, Tales from the Crapper, ladies and gentlemen.
So, what we should probably do is, because I'm totally taking all this time, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to throw some questions to the audience.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
If that's
Sure.
cool with you.
Sure, thank you.
So, what do we got out there? Oh, all right. This guy right there. He was the first one up.
I think it's supposed to go to the mic.
Come up to the mic and you might get one of these amazing, collectible, very good cardstock Return to Nukem High Volume 2
Hey, Mr. Kaufman.
posters.
Nice
Hello.
to see you.
Nice to see you.
Quick question. When I was a kid, I was a huge fan of the Toxic Crusaders cartoon, and I always thought it was so crazy that there's like a kid's cartoon based off the Toxic Avenger. It was so insane and everything. Did you have any creative involvement with the Toxic Crusaders cartoon, or is it kind of another group of people that did that?
The Toxic Crusaders cartoons failed, so you know that I had something to do with it. They only lasted 2 seasons. Yes, I insisted on writing a couple of them, and we had approval over all of them. But it's a wonderful series, and they're environmental, and they're so much funnier, and they're very good satire, much better than Captain America, which went on for many years.
The producer of it is.
The guy who wrote the theme song, and no, he wrote the theme song and the first pilot for Toxic Crusaders, Chuck Lorre, who brought you, brought Martin Sheen Jr. or whatever it is, Charlie Sheen. Didn't he create Charlie Sheen?
The comedy on television.
Yeah, Big Bang, and Roseanne, and he's very talented.
He writes all those paragraphs at the end of.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You have to read real fast. Very quick reading. So the Toxic Crusaders is on for free on Troma Movies YouTube, and they're great cartoons. Every movie that has a 13-year-old boy getting his head squashed by the wheel of an automobile should be made in a children's environmentally correct Saturday morning cartoon show. I don't know why. Well, it will happen. Deadpool will happen. It's coming, believe me.
Awesome. Thanks, Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you. Good question. You get a beautiful souvenir. Did everybody get a DVD, by the way? They've got some, they're very interesting, and they've got some little messages as well as some trailers and clips.
We've got another question right here.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Kaufman, and of course the beautiful commissioner. About a year ago, right around this time, you performed a wedding in Orlando, if you remember.
Yes, I was arrested for impersonating a rabbi, and
Well, that was myself and my wife. She'll be
oh, Aubrey, that must be Aubrey. It's
me.
Aubrey, ladies and gentlemen. No longer married, but there he is. A very nice one.
She'll be here tonight.
Are you still married?
Still married. We're
Oh,
celebrating
that's
our
fantastic.
anniversary here tonight. So
What's that?
we're celebrating our anniversary, our 1-year anniversary here tonight.
Oh, congratulations. That's so nice.
Well, I wanted
Thank
to
you.
thank you again and ask if you have any big plans like that going on this weekend.
Do we have any big plans going on this
I don't
weekend?
believe there's wedded bliss coming this weekend for anybody else, but we have married others. You were the first, right?
Not the first. No, we've done a few. Yeah.
We've done several, but I think we had the most fun with them.
Yours was definitely the best. It was the best. Best group of your family too were terrific.
Yeah, it's terrific. Your whole gang was there.
People were literally weeping.
And go on YouTube and look up Troma Wedding. You'll see it. It's great. Lloyd
Oh, is that right, Troma Wedding?
the little film. And
Oh, that's right. We edited it. Yeah, it's very cute. We put it together. It's very cute. Yeah. Troma Wedding on YouTube. It's all free on Troma Movies on YouTube.
thank you again.
Thanks. Thank you.
We've been married 42 years, so if you really want to stay with whomever you're marrying, you should have us do it. Because
That's a good point.
42 years.
Wow. Thank you, Commissioner.
Can you find me a date?
We've got another person with a question walking up to the front. Yep.
Hey, Lloyd.
Hello, ma'am.
Another Toxic Crusader question for you. You're probably like, oh, great.
Amazing. Toxic Crusaders is
Okay.
a classic.
See how I have the game in my hand. How did this come about? Were you contacted or did you contact
What do you have in your hand there?
Toxic Crusaders on Sega Genesis?
No, I meant the hand that's in your pants there. What do you hold in your hand? Is that a nervous thing, or is it Joe?
I'm happy to see you. I'm sorry.
Joe, you've got a fan, Joe. What was the question?
Did you contact the game publishers or the game publishers?
We got very lucky. It's roulette. This is the one movie, this is the one industry. It's a horrible industry, but every once in a while you get unbelievably lucky. And the cartoon people, the people who were making the Ninja Turtles cartoons, wanted to do an environmental movie. And they came to us because Toxic Avenger is an environmental movie, but obviously they had not seen it. But that's how the cartoon started. And once the cartoon started, then and Kevin Eastman and LLoyd were big Troma fans.
Yeah.
So they encouraged the toy company that made the little action figures and the cartoons, same people. They encouraged them to do the Toxic Crusader cartoons, and then Sega and all that stuff got involved. And recently, the Angry Video Game Nerd did a piece on Toxic Crusaders. I don't know if any of you saw that, but it's wonderful if you want to check it out. He loved the Toxic Crusaders. He was, I think that was his favorite. No, I didn't. You should see it. He takes a dump on the video game, actually.
Yeah.
He was angry.
But he loves you and he loves Troma, so he's in.
Well, that's
He's
right.
in.
Angry Video Game Nerd James Rolfe has a cameo in Return to Nukem High. So,
And you had a cameo in.
yes, I had a cameo in the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, which is also very good.
I haven't got to see that one yet. I
It's
did
good.
see
You
the
should check
episode that you were on the AVGN, so
You saw that episode?
I sure did.
Oh,
Well,
good.
you were in it, so I had to.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank James Rolfe. He's a great guy.
Yes. And thank you for all the work, Mr. Lloyd.
Well, thanks again, and thank you for that's the Sega game.
Yeah, I'll actually have you sign it later.
Sure. We're in the booth 514.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
But there are no numbers.
That's right, no. But you can, the aroma to Troma is wafting through the halls.
Now that video game isn't the first time you guys have been involved with a video game company. If I'm not mistaken, you had a production, Sergeant Kabuki Man, that was like a joint production with Namco, the Pac-Man people.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
They were our co-financiers on Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. I talk about it in 2 of my books. It was a co-production.
Yeah, how did that come about like that? You know, was it?
We had a character in the Toxic Avenger Part 2, which we filmed in Japan, and we had a guy called Kabuki Boy, and every time I would say the words Kabuki Boy, people laughed, and there's something magical about the phrase Kabuki Boy. And at a press conference in Japan, I announced we're going to make a movie called Kabuki Boy, and then somehow Namco got word, and they wanted to create a character that they could use in video games, and they owned theme parks, little, very small theme parks for little children. And unfortunately, I didn't get it, and I had things about people eating worms and not exactly children's oriented or family-friendly movie. So we had issues on that movie, and unfortunately, I should have listened to Mr. Nakamura, who ran Namco, a very nice man and very powerful. But I didn't, and as a result, Sergeant Kabuki Man, it's a great movie, but they were not able to use Kabuki Man in anything.
Man, that's really too bad.
Big mistake, yes.
That's
My wife still reminds me of that. But you can read about it. They were and Namco was very nice too, because I compromised a bit, but the lesson there is, either you do what's totally on your mind, or you do what hired gun kind of a thing, and make money. There's no real in between. It's very hard to take a middle road, and I think Kabuki Man, would you agree to that? Kind of took the middle road, and maybe it could have been a lot better if I would have just made it family friendly, like the cartoons were, or make it all Troma way, which only 6 people would show up. It's a very good movie.
But who needs a theme park and who needs,
That's right. Who needs to have a roof over your head?
Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely.
We're artists.
By the way,
Okay,
Sergeant Kabuki Man lives because John Brennan in Tromaville, New York, he has created Kabuki Man's Cocktail Corner, which is just finished the first season. It's a sketch show. It's about 10 minutes, and it was just greenlit for a second season. Kabuki Man's Cocktail Corner. So Kabuki Man does live on Troma Movies on YouTube. So check it out. It's got all sorts of interesting guests. Paul, the tattoo guy. Paul, he's one of the great tattoo guys. We had Q from Impractical Jokers. We have very good bands. Unicorn.
Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah, the Angry Video Game Nerd was on. A lot of interesting.
And Kabuki Man himself makes appearances
Oh
in
yeah, he's
every
the host.
film
He's the
that you
host.
do.
Yeah,
Well,
Kabuki
but
Man Cocktail Corner.
Kabuki also makes appearances in every film you do.
Yes, he has cameos. You're right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger 4.
The Citizen Toxie. That's right. He's got a big part in that. Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, I love that whole alternate universe thing. Are we ever going to see another standalone Kabuki Man movie, maybe?
I don't know, but we have no money right now. We're very poor. We have to finish Return to Nukem High, and once we finish that, I think we're going to try to do the 5th Toxic Avenger movie. No doubt Sergeant Kabuki Man will appear in that movie. But those of you who have followed his career, Kabuki Man was not able to deal with the success. He got into alcohol and drugs and rape, and he really can't handle his own movie. Toxic Avenger, a very straight shooter, and he knows how to deal with success. Sergeant Kabuki Man is sort of the Charlie Sheen of the Tromaville, I think. So we're worried about, we can't get liability insurance with Kabuki Man and stuff like that. Yeah.
And Toxie ages. Toxie, goes through the various stages of life, right?
He does.
In each movie, he's gone to the next step of life, and he's had children, and he's, right?
That's right. In Citizen Toxie, at the end of the movie, he does have children. And in part 5, hopefully we'll do it, we're going to try to go to Chernobyl and film about a third of the movie in the Ukraine.
So, because you're worried about ISIS in Iran, but you have no concerns about the Ukraine.
Kiev is
Very
okay.
safe.
No, it's all right there.
Very safe.
The biggest issue is we have to figure out how to finance it. There's a question. Oh, there's a big
We've got.
lineup.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're totally fine. Kind of was looking for how you got inspiration for things like the Toxic Avenger or even like Poultrygeist. Like, how did you find inspiration for those movies?
Really, I think our issue of we see things that are going on. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead was inspired by the fact that McDonald's opened a restaurant next door to the Troma building in New York City. And they were very evil neighbors. And we had rats the size of raccoons having their weekends in our basement. And they cut a piece of our building out because they measured the sign for their building. So they just cut a piece of our building so the sign would fit and the rain would come in and that sort of thing. And we had a heck of a time getting their attention to patch it up. So then I read Fast Food Nation, and then I started learning that fast food not such a good thing. So that was kind of where it all began with Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. And I always loved being a gay married man, of course. I love musicals. I've wept through every Barbra Streisand musical. And, so Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead, the newspapers and current events, things that are going on around us are fascinating.
We were camping before Toxic Avenger, and you were upset about the garbage and the trash and...
Yeah, the early 80s, yeah, way before Al Gore invented the internet. We and stole the Nobel Peace Prize from some scientists. We were dealing with the environment. That's very true. Just like we didn't have Twitter in those days, so it couldn't blow up when Al Gore took over my themes. What can you do? Why is this unfair?
I'm a biology major and a research student in trying to find ways to tell the public about environmental problems. So I do thank you for the Toxic Avenger because it's a good way to introduce satire and real world problems.
Well, thank you so much, and the cartoons also. Each one of them has an environmental message, and thanks for enjoying Toxic Avenger. That's the idea, is to try to create art that has something to say, but yet is very entertaining, and hopefully you'll make a little difference. And we've also put up a lot of public service announcements.
PSA.
We put up one about the Oscars So White because we felt that the mainstream personalities discussing the issues were just talking superficially. They didn't really get deep into the real cause of why Oscars So White. So thank you for being interested in the environment, and good luck with your biology. That's great. Thank you.
Hey, let's keep these questions
That was
going.
such a good question. You should get 2 of those. Two of the return to Nukem Highs.
All right, well, I am probably not going to make a difference in anybody's life, unfortunately.
Oh.
Can we get a big awe from the crowd?
I've got 2 questions.
Uh-oh.
My second question has nothing to do with Troma, nothing to do with Toxie, and it's a bad question. So my first question is, can I have a poster?
Have a what?
A poster.
A toaster, yes, a toaster for this gentleman. Yes, free toaster.
He loves hot bread.
I do. My second question is, what was prisoner number 2's crime?
Probably not paying James Gunn very much for the Romeo and Juliet script that he wrote. Although James Gunn did masturbate on my desk at the office. He did do that, which was pretty cool. I was not there for that, though. I was not present. Were you present, Commissioner? Were you there?
You just guaranteed no part in the next movie.
No, James Gunn is proud of that.
And my question,
He's proud of that.
was it for fun or was he being paid to do it?
Sorry, what?
Did he do it just for fun or was he being paid to do
Oh
it?
yeah, it's in the job description. When you apply for a job at Troma, you must masturbate on Lloyd Kaufman's desk, yes. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, they did it. Everybody did it. Right? Samuel Jackson, I think he did it, didn't he?
Wow, man, you must have interns lining up right out the door, ready to.
I know we have lawsuits sliding outside the door. I don't know about interns.
Slip and fall lawsuits. Get it?
Nice, Joe. I think Joe needs to write a Troma script.
It's always been a dream.
What's that?
To write a Troma script, it's always been a dream.
That would be great.
I'll write you up a draft of something.
Thank you very much.
Next question.
Okay. Lloyd, I was wondering, a lot of people may not know that you started off working on for people like John Badass for films like Saturday Night Fever. I was wondering if you could tell us about the transition from working for other people to, being your own self-made man.
Well, rather than go to film school, I decided I would work on some movies, and I tried to identify directors who I thought were talented so that I could learn at their knee. And John Avildsen, I got lucky enough to get on the set of a movie called Joe, which was Peter Boyle and Susan Sarandon's first movie. And Joe is a great movie. If you get a chance to see it, it holds up beautifully. Written by the same guy who wrote Saturday Night Fever, oddly enough, Norman Wexler. The late Norman Wexler. And so I used Joe and Saturday Night Fever, John G. Avildsen and John Badham as sort of my film school. And I couldn't find any other directors whose names were John, so then I went into my own movies.
Thank you.
By the way, this afternoon, Paul Savino was in a panel, right?
Yes.
And you, what were you, the unit product, the UPM?
Well, actually, Cry Uncle, I was one of the kind of producer types. A movie called Cry Uncle, which was Paul Sorvino's first movie.
Oh, I didn't realize he
Yeah,
was
he
in
has a
Cry
very
Uncle.
funny scene in that. Cry Uncle, a Troma movie,
And then you-
which John Avildsen directed and Lee Hessel produced.
And then later,
And then later,
John directed,
yeah, Slow Dancing in the Big City.
and you were the,
I was associate
Associate
producer.
producer.
Yeah. And I'm in that movie.
Yeah.
And I don't play a drunken bum in that movie.
Right.
I get to be dignified. I
and
play
you do a
an
scene with
usher.
Sorvino, don't you?
Yes, I do. You're right. Boy, you have a good memory. Wow.
I didn't.
Slow Dancing in the Big Cities by John Avildsen. John Avildsen, who did Rocky and Karate Kid and Save the Tiger, and certainly a big influence on my filmmaking.
I'll have to
Good
check it.
question. Very good question, by the way.
Good morning.
But it's not John Badass, it's John Badham. John Badham, who went on after Saturday Night Fever to make the thing with the children who hacked the War Games, huge hit, and very prescient today, hacking, right, big deal.
My question is about kind of just you being involved in independent films. How do you feel about piracy and things like copyleft and open source, things like that?
Excellent question. I like butt privacy very much. Butt piracy with no privacy is very good. But I'm perfectly happy if people share our movies for free. I don't mind that at all. What I don't like is what the Chinese do, where they take your movies and then sell them and give you no money. That's very bad. Don't like that at all. And it's the elites who do that in China. It's not the poor people. I wouldn't mind it if the poor peasants were getting a few bucks. But there's a very small, very small number of generals and elites and powerful people in China who get all the money from our movies. We get none, nor do the poor peasants. And that's true in South America, and that's true everywhere in the world except for Europe, Japan, the United States, and that's about it. So I don't mind file sharing. I'm all for it. And if you read my book, Sell Your Own Damn Movie, I write extensively, and that book was written a number of years ago. I think file sharing is a very good thing. Art should be shared. Art should be given to the people. It should not be held on to forever, the way Disney holds on to Mickey Mouse forever. The copyright laws are totally wrong. They're obscene, the copyright laws. They were supposed to be 14 years. Thomas Jefferson said copyright should be 14 years so that the author and the owner, the creator, gets a benefit from his or her or its work, not forever. Clinton and Disney got rid of, they extended copyright, so it's almost forever. It's almost forever, which the public loses. The public loses. Shakespeare would not have been able to write Romeo and Juliet. We would not have been able to make Tromeo and Juliet if the laws of today were enforced during Shakespeare's time. He would have had his rosy red ass sewed off by the Italian guy whose play he used. So I'm all for file sharing, you bet. That's what art's all about. Shouldn't be copywritten.
Now, I've been given the wrap it up gesture.
Uh-oh.
So,
no.
We just have one more question, so after this we'll cut.
okay.
That was a very bad question. Whoever asked that question, something about cutting.
Can you guys both speak into the microphone at the same time and ask your question at once?
My question, I'm a big fan of Terra Firma, and it has an excellent soundtrack, and I was just wondering, I know the Lunatics did like a video, and I was just wondering if you had, how you decided like, and got such great bands to do it, if you had any input in that, or...
Well, the bands come to us. The Toilet Boys came to us, the Lunatics, and Terra Firma, by the way, is my most personal film. Our daughter, who was 9 years old at the time, plays one of the principal parts, Charlotte Kaufman, who just shot most of Return to Newcomb High. She was director of photography. But Lemmy from the late Lemmy from Motorhead, he was a big fan of Troma. He joined up on Romeo and Juliet, gave us Sacrifice, and has been in almost every movie since then. So the bands really will, I mean, I'm very bourgeois, as you can tell. I don't consider myself punk, but the punk world saw Troma or sees Troma as sort of a shit disturber, so we do attract a lot.
I mean, you've got great taste in music, because you decide which things are actually going to be.
Yeah, I do make the final decision, but we're very open to bands. And Return to Newcomb High has got some great, terrific new. We've got Sick on the Bus from England and Return to Newcomb High. Really good band. So thank you for asking that.
Can the last guy get to ask his question?
Okay.
Well, I kind of thank you so much to Spooky World, to the fans for showing up at this area. And Will, the commissioner and I will be at the Troma booth where you can buy Troma merchandise safely and securely. And I sign anything for free and free photo ops. And thank you, Joe. Big hand for Joe.